most dynamic men you'll ever have the chance to meet. Dr. Kelvin Adams is the superintendent for St. Louis Public Schools, and he joins us via the phone. Good morning. Doctor, thank you for checking in once again on the Big 550 KTRS.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me on this morning.
You got it. The St. Louis Public Schools are going to be fully accredited. What's going on here?
Well, I think we're working toward that still. We're not fully accredited right now. As you know, we're provisionally accredited from unaccreditation, and so we have a plan on the table to look to try to get us there as quickly as possible. And so tonight we have a meeting at Vashon High School from 6 to 8 to listen to the public weigh in on the plan to do that.
And what is going to happen tonight at Vashon?
We put the plan out about 10 days ago. We had spring break last week, so we didn't do anything last week, but we want the community to come out and give us their impression of what the recommendations are for providing additional resources to the most neediest schools in the district, and also weigh in on the idea of looking to partner with outside groups to possibly manage some of our schools in the year 15-16.
Pretty aggressive plan. What has been the response so far?
I frankly got a response, but that's why we want to have a meeting tonight so we can really hear from the public and parents regarding this particular plan. I've not gotten a lot of comments, quite frankly. I've gotten some from different quarters of the community, but not enough to indicate what the overall view might be.
Yeah. Doctor, many people are saying or wanting school districts to not be accredited or unaccredited by the whole district, but accredit or uncredit individual schools within that district. What are your thoughts about that?
100% supportive of it. That's our idea as well, and that's why we're looking to put those resources for those lowest achieving 18 or 19 schools in our district in a targeted way. So I think that's a great way to look at doing it. Sometimes in this case, in our case, 35 of our schools are fully accredited or provisionally accredited, and about 30 are not. So the whole notion is that we put those resources to schools who have the greatest need without taking away resources from those schools that are doing well.
So other cities have done this, Dr. Adams, right? And does it seem to be working for them?
I think it's mixed. I think a lot depends on the community and its reception of those kinds of things. New Orleans might be a prime example that everybody looks at that is working. Other cities have struggled with this whole notion. I think it's how it's communicated and how it's implemented. I think those are two key pieces, and we want to give ourselves some time to look to do this in the right way if we decide to do it at all. Obviously, the board has to say yes or no, and the community has to be willing to accept the changes that take place.
One of the problems, Dr. Kelvin Adams, that you face as an uphill battle is perception. And you say half the schools are doing great and half the schools are doing bad. But when you talk to somebody on the street, they think all of St. Louis schools are doing bad. So perception is probably your biggest stumbling block. I stumped him. He didn't know how to answer that question. Yeah.
Obviously, the district has the highest achieving high school and elementary school and middle school in the state, but that's never talked about. And so that's our job, though. That's our job to sell our schools better, and that's why we've been doing some campaigning to try to get the word out.
Yeah, talk about that for a moment, Doctor, because you cut out for a second. You keep saying that, and I keep repeating that, and people don't quite understand. You have the highest performing schools in the state. What do you mean by that?
It means that one of our elementary schools is the highest achieving elementary school, and one of our high schools is the highest achieving high school in the state. And so if you would rate schools in terms of how they perform academically, we have the two highest rated schools at the elementary and the high school level.
It's as simple as that. It's just,
yes, it is. I mean, in terms of testing, in terms of students going to college, in terms of career tech education program, in terms of how the school is scored nationally, I think it's number 17 nationally as well. And so I think, and we have the 35th highest school in the state in one of our schools as well. So we have schools that are doing really, really well. The intent of the plan tonight is to say, okay, we know that. What are we doing about those schools that are not doing well, and how can we put additional resources to support those schools? That's the real challenge for us.
Yeah, and if these underachieving schools, if other outside sources do take these schools on, will this be a permanent thing, or will they try to get them back on their feet and then merge once again with St. Louis City Schools?
Yeah, the intent is that this is a short-term intervention, 3 to 5 years at the max, in terms of those persons looking to manage and support those schools in a partnership way. We're not talking takeover in the sense that the schools are their schools forever and ever. We're talking about in partnership with us to assist in some way, shape, or form. That's kind of what we're looking at. These schools have the highest poverty rate of all of our schools, the highest number of suspensions and expulsions. Some 11 students in those schools lost their lives this year through a number of different ways. And so it's really about addressing the issue of poverty probably more than anything else, because these are the schools that have the highest concentration of students who are our neediest kids.
Doctor, in terms of what you deal with on a daily basis, people find this remarkable when they hear this. How many different languages do you have to account for because students end up at your doorstep who speak different languages?
I think it's, at this point in time, 17 to 20 different languages. We have a school that's really set up to do that. Our international school, as persons come to the country for the very first time, as we get them to understand the language, then those students transfer to other schools. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 years for that to occur. But just so you understand and know that the state still requires that those students take the regular test like any other student. So that's one of the things that we have to fight against in terms of making sure that students are where they need to be for state assessments.
But everyone talks about uniformity in schools, but it's just ridiculous to compare the St. Louis City schools with, say, St. Charles schools, because there are two completely different issues.
I think you're correct in the sense that, and this is not about making excuses. I want to be really, really careful here. We're not going to ever make any excuses about what happens for the young people in our district, but there are different challenges, and we just have to be aware of those, and it's our responsibility and a community responsibility to support those schools that have those kinds of intense challenges. So the transformational plan that we're going to talk about tonight is to kind of set aside some $3.3 million next year to support those schools in a different kind of way with resources. That's kind of what we're talking about as well.
Doctor, there are people listening to this show who are saying more money at a problem school doesn't solve the problem. How do you respond to that?
I don't know that it's more money. It's money spent differently. What we're doing is we're not asking for more money. We're using the dollars that we have and realigning the resources. If you have a checking account, you're moving the dollars from from the light bill to the water bill. That's kind of what we're doing. We're reducing our electric bill and indicating that our water bill is higher, so we want to address that. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're just shifting dollars around to support those schools in a different kind of way.
Doctor, what time tonight and where?
Vashon High School on Thursday, which is tonight, from 6 to 8, and Saturday, Roosevelt High School from 10 to 12.
Is there a website where people can find out more information?
Yes, sir. It's on our website, www.slps.org. Persons can go online, give comments. They can also call and leave comments as well. But we want to hear from the public about this particular plan.
Dr. Kelvin Adams, tonight, 6 to 8 at Vashon. More information at the website, and the website is slps.org. Dr. Kelvin Adams, Superintendent of St. Louis Public Schools, thank you for your time and drive safe.
Thank you very, very much.
You got it. 8:30 here, Big 550.